y'all, greetings from the apocalypse. So in this video, I'm going to show you setting a yellow sapphire faceted stone. And I'm going to go over some of the things that you really need to know to make sure your stone really looks its best. You'll recognize this pendant from the two previous videos where we were getting her beautiful rubellite pear-shaped cabochon to the right height and setting it. And then when we finish the stone today, her pendant will be ready to wear. Oh, okay. Well, look at this magical deliciousness. So we're getting ready to set the top sapphire. We've got a shiny silver sheet in there. We've got an inner bezel. And the height looks exactly right. So I'll put this down and let you get in there from the side so that you can show it. Because, you know, getting the height right for a faceted stone is incredibly important. If you have too much metal above, you'll end up kind of covering too much of your stone. If you don't have enough, you won't have enough, and that would be problematic too. So what we're looking for is for the bezel to be just above the girdle of the stone. You know, the girdle is that line, you know, on faceted stones around the edge. Just above it, so it's enough to hold it, but not so much that by the time you're done setting, you'll cover too much of your beautiful stone. So I'm gonna let Alexis get in there and from some side views and try to get a really good shot of that so you can see it. Because that's something that people have a lot of questions about, like how do you get the height right, you know?
Right.
And the more of them that you see at the right height, the better you get at being able to know if they're at the right height.
I had trouble with the cabochons also, just because.
It's beautiful. All right, extreme macro view so that you can see the side of the bezel. See what I mean? Is that sexy or what? So you can see that the outer bezel, you know, the gold bezel there is covering up the girdle of the stone. You can't see it. I'm trying to get it, you know, like right across. Because when you're checking these heights, you have to really get it eye level. It's extremely important. If you don't, you know, if you're looking kind of from above, you're just not going to be able to understand what you're saying. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. And what a beautiful job she did on the other stone too, which we'll need to polish up a little bit. We have a few slips on the side, but you know, who doesn't slip now and then? Ooh, delicious. So basically now we're ready to start setting.
No.
The last step before we actually start setting is I'm just going to take tape and cover up her other stone. Mummification is always worth taking a minute or two because we all slip. It happens. It's life. That way, if you slip, you're not going to hurt anything, and so then you don't have to be stressed out about it. You know, there's also another reason besides slips to do this. This is a technique that actually surgeons use. It's much easier to focus if all you can see is what you have to focus on. And I know that sounds like sort of maybe like, oh, that doesn't matter to me, but let me tell you, when you're doing like something and you got 6 stones in there, 8 stones in there, whatever, it really does help you concentrate to literally just cover up everything but the bezel you're working on. So the tape does more than one thing, in other words, because that way all you're going to focus on is this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe lives aren't in the balance, but
Maybe they are.
depending. But we still want our best focus. You know what I mean on what we're doing. Okay.
It's tucked under the blanket.
It is. See, we tuck it in all snugly. And we're going to start setting this though, like really when you're doing a faceted stone, once you get the height right, it's more or less just like a cabochon. It's, you know, north, south, east, west, work the corners first, 45-degree angle, hold the tool the same way. It's all pretty much the same. The only other thing then you have to kind of pay attention to is, you know, it's sitting in there on an inner bezel. So when you press on it, it's very common for the stone, you know what I mean, just slide around and not be level anymore. And if you're just looking from the top, you may not notice that. So as I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna press, I'm gonna hold it up eye level, I'm gonna check, press it level with the bezel, and you just have to keep checking that as you go along to make sure that you're keeping it nice and level as you go, okay? So I'm gonna stand up because I'm short. Put my finger over the stone, press in, right there at the corner a
So
little bit.
You're doing that corner.
And then I'm gonna go to the other corner,
Okay.
and these, you know, and keep working the corners until they're done. But since it's so little, I feel like I need to go across from each other rather than getting that one done. Okay. And then I'm gonna hold it up like this and look from the side. And you see how it's still nice and level, which is what we want. But that's what I mean. You can't just look from the top, because a lot of times you won't notice it if you just look from the top. Let's see, what am I doing now? This one right here. Okay, press in. Do one across. Okay. So I take it, tilt it up. And if you can see, hopefully from the side, it's still nice and level. Now, if it isn't, it's no big deal. I mean, you literally just take your wood dowel, press it level, look at it, and go on with your life. It's not a huge deal. The only time it becomes a huge deal is if you don't notice, you continue to set, and then eventually then your stone is, you know, at an angle, and you have to correct it. Okay? So go ahead, Susie.
Okay. So I still will.
Okay, so setting in progress. You can see it looks pretty good. We still have a few little, like, small spaces. So we're going to go around a little more, but I think we can probably move over to the two-handed hammering technique to close them up. Sorry, I'm trying to get that good focus there so you can see all the little details. Look at that. It's coming along beautifully. So look at this unbelievable badassery by Susie. Her stone is in there perfectly level and gorgeous.
Go, Susie.
Go, Susie, go. All we're going to do now is sort of polish up the setting, and I'll show you from the top too, but I just wanted to show you from the side what we're looking for with a faceted stone when we're doing a bezel setting, because we want the bezel to just clear the girdle, which this has, which means it'll hold it in beautifully, but not cover so much that we hide any of our beautiful stone. And you notice that she did a great job of keeping the stone beautiful and level. So I feel just as proud as I possibly can be.
Go, Susie.
I mean, are you kidding me? Look at this shit. Look how gorgeous that looks. Ooh, it's so delicious. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna take a little pause and we're gonna polish the top, and then we'll polish also the gorgeous rubellite that's on the bottom of the pendant, and then we will show it off. Ooh. So good, so gorgeous, delicious. Okay, so as I was saying, the badassery that is Susie has finished her project. She's giggling, and oh my God, it looks so good. So basically our next step is we're just gonna use a Swifty one-step square wheel. It's perfect for getting those top edges and smoothing them out. So I have it in my flex shaft. I've got my little foot pedal right here. As always, when you use the flex shaft, make sure you're nice and comfortable, you know what I mean? Your arms are relaxed on the table. So I'm gonna work first on the rubellite. I hold it like this with my thumb out. You see what I mean, like that? And then I can put my thumb either on the piece or on my other hand, and that way I'm really nice and braced. Now, the important thing about the Swifty wheel is that it will not hurt your stone. And that's the huge thing, because there's a lot of different polishing wheels you can use, but a lot of them can scratch your stone. So that's why I use this one in particular. And you see how I'm just gonna pick a little section, stroke it top to bottom, stroke it top to bottom until that little spot looks really good, and then I'm just gonna work my way around. So I'll give you a demo and then I'll let you do it, okay? And because you're not worried about hurting your stone, you can really rest this like right flat on top to smooth it out and get it to look really nice.
Okay.
Oh, that looks so good. You see that?
Oh, beautiful.
So I'm gonna do the other side of the tip a little bit, and then I'll let you work on the rest of it, and then I'm gonna take a little close up of it because it looks so good.
Okay.
So proud. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a little close up to show what that did to the tip, and then I'm gonna turn it over to you and let you polish.
Okay.
So just to show you a little close up, you can just see how I've polished the tip. And small, smooth, and shiny. So I'm gonna give it over to Susie and have her do the rest of it, and her yellow sapphire as well. And then I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. Delish. So I'm trying to get like an extreme macro view here of the unbelievable job that Susie did. I mean, look at how delicious this is. Oh my God, it's too good. I'll switch back to unmacro mode so you can kind of just see the whole thing, but I am so proud of the job she did. I think she's blushing. As I'm saying this, she's blushing, but I don't care because look at this juicy deliciousness.